All right, settle in, friend. Pull the blinds, maybe light a candle, because we're about to take a shadowy stroll down a dusty road in Indiana, a road that leads to a place whispered about in hushed tones, the 100-step cemetery. Now, every state has its share of spooky stories, right? Abandoned asylums, haunted highways, houses with histories best left buried. But the tale of the 100-step cemetery, well, it has a certain chilling persistence. It clings to the local lore like grave moss on an ancient headstone. And its roots? They're as tangled as the vines that creep across old tombstones. The truth is, there isn't one single cemetery officially named 100 Steps in Indiana. That's part of what makes this legend so unsettling. It seems to have latched onto various old burial grounds across the state, each with its own version of the eerie staircase. You see, many older cemeteries, especially those built on hills, have staircases leading to higher burial plots. These practical features, weathered by time and shadow, likely sparked the initial idea. The core of the legend, however, remains the same. Somewhere within these forgotten final resting places, there exists a staircase. Count them if you dare, but the number is said to be, well, you guessed it, 100. Or is it? Some say the number changes depending on whether you're going up or down. A trick of the spirits, perhaps? But these aren't just ordinary steps leading to a mausoleum or a higher plot. Oh no, these steps are a gateway, a portal, a direct line to something else. Cemeteries, by their very nature, are places of mystery. The silence, the rows of gravestones, the feeling of being surrounded by the departed. It all creates an atmosphere ripe for spooky tales. The stories vary depending on who you ask and which cemetery they claim holds the dreaded steps. Some say that if you descend the entire staircase at midnight, on Halloween, or under a full moon, something will meet you at the bottom. Something cold, something hungry. The legend taps into our primal fear of the unknown, the idea of a place where the living and the dead can intersect. Others whisper that each step represents a soul buried in the cemetery, and if you count all 100 correctly, you'll awaken them. Not in a friendly, chatty way, mind you. More like a restless stirring of the earth, a chorus of moans carried on the wind. This version plays on the common folklore motif of counting or performing a ritual to trigger a supernatural event. Perhaps the most chilling version claims that as you descend each step, you're not just going down, but back through time, through the layers of lives that have ended there. By the time you reach the bottom, you might find yourself in a completely different era, surrounded by the long-gone inhabitants of that silent city. And finding your way back, well, that's a gamble few are willing to take. This speaks to a broader fascination with staircases as symbolic passages, gateways between worlds. Now you might be thinking, it's just a story, right? Kids daring each other, local folklore getting blown out of proportion. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's just the way the moonlight plays tricks on the weathered stone, the way the wind sighs through the ancient trees, making you think you hear whispers. The legend thrives on the thrill of the dare, the shared experience of seeking out the spooky. But there are those who swear they've felt it. The shift in temperature halfway down the steps, the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes, the faint scent of damp earth and something else, something indescribable. The power of these stories lies in their ability to tap into our deepest fears and create a sense of unease, even in the most skeptical minds. There are tales of groups of teenagers armed with flashlights and bravado attempting the descent. Some claim they only made it halfway before a wave of icy dread washed over them, forcing them to turn back. Others say they reached the bottom, only to find nothing. But the journey back up, they say, was always longer. The steps felt like they multiplied in the darkness. And then there are the stories that don't get told so readily, the ones whispered in hushed tones among locals, the stories of those who went down and never quite came back the same, or didn't come back at all. So the next time you find yourself driving down a quiet Indiana road and you see the silhouette of an old cemetery against the twilight sky, remember the legend of the 100 steps. Think about the unseen staircase, the chilling descent, and the secrets that might lie waiting at the bottom. Remember, these stories are born from a mix of real places, human imagination, and a deep-seated fascination with the boundary between life and death. Are they just stories? Maybe. But in the stillness of the night, with the wind whistling through the tombstones, you might just find yourself counting the steps. If you want to hear more spooky and mysterious tales, click the subscribe button and give us a like. If you've heard an urban legend tale and want us to explore its hidden depths, leave us a comment below.